It's Gary Kayye. We're here at the Integrated Systems Europe show and day 3 of the show, and it's been a great show. And I'm joined right now by Mike Blackman. Mike Blackman's the managing director of ISE. Mike, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you, Gary. We're really pleased. We're getting really good feedback from all of our exhibitors. In fact, we have some complaints, mostly about
too many people.
Too many people.
I believe that. I thought that might be coming. It's interesting because it's hard to judge the flow. It shifts so much during the day,
yeah.
And I think opening up Hall 8's entrance helped out a lot because I saw the flow reverse. I think that was a big successful thing. But before we get into go ahead.
Well, we've learned a little bit about that, what we did in Hall 8, and it certainly made a big impression and helped bring the traffic in earlier. Now we also understand what we were doing there and how to improve that for the following year as well to get more people early in the day. What you've seen is, you're in Hall 8, so you've seen it. In the afternoons, it's busy.
Right.
What we're trying to do is actually get it busy from 9 o'clock in the morning, and opening an entrance that actually started that flow. The problem is everything's relative. And when you compare what's happening in Hall 8 to what's happening in Hall 1, everyone says, okay, it's quiet at 9 o'clock. But actually, the people we actually get through at 9 o'clock, it's almost more than we had in Geneva at the first show. So
yeah. No, I think it's well balanced. It's well. People are used to this hall system that you have here, where you're going from one hall to the other, and also the structure is actually very well defined when you're talking about the vertical market segments.
Yes.
The fact that there's a unified communications hall, which I understand they've outgrown that hall, you're going to have to move them, but there's a digital signage section, there's a large format LED section. So, I mean, I actually think it works really well, and you can kind of start or end your journey where you need to go. But first of all, go ahead.
We've done some guides, we listen to our exhibitors and to our attendees. And one of the complaints we always had in the past was, wow, this show's getting so big we can't find our way around. We're not so sure about the signage. So you look here at the top of the halls now, and just above here it says the directions to Hall 1 through to 7. I know you can't see it on the camera, but big letters.
Right.
We've also got guides that actually show you where specific sectors are. So if you say, I'm only interested in digital signage, you pick up the digital signage guide to ISE, and it will take you through the show and show you where you find that within the show, and specifically not part of one catalog, but a separate guide. And that's kind of gone over really well. And then you'll walk around and you see people open up the plans and saying, okay, I'm going there, and there. And that's really great to see that's actually happening. So the trips to the show are being planned now, and they're saying, okay, I know maybe I won't get around the whole show, but these are the important things I have to see first.
Right. Yeah, I can't imagine anybody's complaining about now because you've got it structured so well, and people are sort of familiar with the place as well. But first of all, it was evident from the first or second hour the show was open that you had to be getting close in the first day of blowing away attendance numbers. So some of the stuff I have heard from manufacturers, NEC told me they were up 40% day one or this year over last year. Barco said they had hit the number of leads they had last year, not even halfway through yesterday. So the numbers have to be huge. I mean, can you give us some idea where we're at?
Well, we're hearing that same resonance from everybody. And I mean, what I can tell you is on the first day we had more than 22,000 people through the door. Yesterday we had more than 24,000 through the door. So that was including the ones who came back from the first day. And we've had a great start already for today. We know pre-registration for the show is already over 50,000. So by the end of the day, we're confidently going to be able to say we've overpassed that 50,000 attendee mark.
Okay, so that's good. So somewhere over 50,000, we just don't know yet. But last year, correct me if I'm wrong, it was a little over 44,000?
We had, a little over 44,000, so you're seeing something at least a 15% increase in attendance.
That's unheard of. I mean, we're still kind of struggling our way out of an economy, and all of a sudden you have this. It sort of leads me into my second question. This bodes well for the EMEA market in the future, certainly for 2014. You've got to be positive that there's going to be not only a strong recovery but a robust market.
Well, we're seeing really upbeat information coming from some of the vendors here. I've been talking to some integrators around who are walking the show, and I actually asked one of them, how's business? And he smiled and he said, actually, Mike, we're up 15% over last year. So that's encouraging. We don't think it's everywhere. But if we reflect on the show and where everyone's coming from, we've seen a big increase in attendance from people coming from the UK, big increase in attendance from people coming from Germany. Italy's going up. We're starting to break that mark with the French attendees. It was really encouraging to see. We've always struggled getting the French here. And it was really encouraging to see that edging up as not only percentage-wise, but when you see the show increasing in size, that's actually physical number-wise as well. And that's really, really pleasing. So we hope that's reflecting the upbeat message from the market as well, that business is being done and people are actually buying. Now, we run a program called the Hosted Buyer program where we work with integrators to bring specific end users, corporate end users to the show. And I spoke to one well-known company who said that they were inviting their customers, and he said this year he had a struggle, which was a lot of customers were actually saying, I'm sorry, I don't have time, we're too busy to actually take an offer and actually come with you. So I think things are moving now, and that's quite positive.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this is worldwide too. I don't think it's just EMEA. It's definitely worldwide. One thing that I was struck with, being from the United States, is how many U.S. attendees are at this show. I was surprised. I mean, in the past, the U.S. attendees I've seen at the show have been here because of the result of manufacturers exhibiting or curiosity. This year, I've seen U.S. attendees who are integrators walking the show floor, not only looking for new products and technology, but also looking at the same companies they deal with already and checking out their new stuff as if they were at a show just like it was in their backyard.
Well, I think there's several factors of why that's actually happening. The one is, we work very closely together with Jason McGraw, who runs Infocom, and Jason has been very instrumental in the success of ISE. And one of the things that their team has looked at and seen is the overlap between two shows in terms of customers. If we exclude the multinationals and just go on those companies, you'll see quite a few. There's an overlap perhaps of a third of our exhibitors. And the rest they have who are US-based and we have which are European-based. Obviously, it's growth for both of us. Right. Now, what actually happens, why that makes a difference for integrators, is that they will see companies here they may not see in the US. Right. It's one factor, and the same way going to the US, they'll see companies they may not see here. But more importantly, we have shows which are 6 months apart. And these manufacturers are actually putting their R&D cycles in place to actually release products early in the year. So you'll see even the multinationals, they have the advantage. If they're releasing displays which can be used in the consumer market, they're doing it at CES and ISE. Everything's put in a box and rushed over here a couple of days later, and we get it here. And that's quite economical for a lot of manufacturers to actually get both markets in one time. But there's still that time in June when products are being released and shown. So it makes sense for US integrators to come here for the product launches that are happening here if they want them now. But in the same way for the Europeans to go to the USA when that product cycle's there and the launch is happening at Infocom as well. So both shows are as important as each other. And I think that's why you see Europeans in the US and why you'll see Americans here in Europe.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the 6 month separation is perfect because you do get that kind of a scenario exactly as you described. So what's next? I mean, how are you going to up this? How are you going to improve this? I know that a couple of things that are happening is your partners are starting to do more outreach in the EMEA market. I also was at the press conference on the first day where where the whole group of you talked about, specifically Infocom, talked about their outreach in the EMEA market. This can only help you because as they go to more and more countries, it's only going to help sort of enrich the market and develop the market even to a different level so that audiovisual is sort of a normal thing rather than sort of a unique pinnacle kind of technology.
The strength of ISE has been really the associations behind it. And when we launched in 2004 with the first show, what really made it happen was actually going and say, look, this is Infocom and Cedia behind this, because that actually said, okay, we see the value of that. Now, obviously, as we start to reach into more new markets and those companies who are in those markets see the value of the education, the training, the membership advantages and what the associations bring to them, that helps us to actually bring those people to the shows we're running. And it's been really throughout the development of the show has been one of the major factors to our success.
Have you? Do you have any figures or any statistics on what percentage of the attendees have gone to educational classes, whether they be manufacturer sponsored or the sort of the ones offered by CDN and Infocom?
I don't actually have physical numbers yet. I can just tell you what I've seen and what I've heard as well. And that's firstly, I know from both associations, Infocom actually had to increase the amount of tickets available for all the sessions they were doing because the demand exceeded supply. CDS had the same as well. When I go to manufacturer sessions, I'm seeing theaters and presentation rooms very full. We have 2 theaters on the floor. In Hall 8, we have the Commercial Solutions Theatre, and in Hall 7, we have the Residential Solutions Theatre. And I was actually going by as there was a session on digital signage in Hall 8, and it was standing room only. And we've seen a lot of that in the theatres. So obviously, our attendees are taking advantage of what we're pushing in terms of increasing the level of content in our exhibition. And giving them more independent, balanced advice so they can actually go to the exhibitors and the presentations there and actually have more knowledge before they go in there.
I totally agree. Now, I've got 2 other quick questions. As you know, recently, Infocom signed up Microsoft at the Infocom show. Can we hope to see Microsoft at the ISE show next year?
I do hope so. Obviously, the connections are there. That was something very recent. And, quite a major move in the industry. We've seen that. There are discussions going on. I hope we will see them there. There's certainly good cause and good reason why Microsoft should exhibit at ISE. And I can just say, watch this space.
Yeah, I think that's true. And I also see, everybody that's involved in networking should consider ISE because our industry is going across the network. I mean, everything's moving across the network, and they're going to need access to routers and switches and bridges just like everybody else. So everything, the way that video conferencing is being done now is the way that sort of everything's going to be done in the future. Video conferencing and digital signage really are sort of the way that everything's going to be done because they're already all across the network. But congratulations. I mean, phenomenal show. I've been to 10 of the 11 shows. I missed one show. I've been to 10 of the 11 shows. I'm just blown away. I was blown away with the first one just because to put something like that together, and we were in Switzerland, that was kind of fun because to have a show in Switzerland was unusual. And then as you moved across Europe and switched venues, I mean, you couldn't have picked a better venue. You couldn't have picked a better location. It's the greenest convention center in the world. I mean, that was announced at this show.
We actually had a sustainability audit made on ISE, and we got a very, very high scoring, primarily because of this venue and what they do and how we work with them. And I must say it's a pleasure to work with the Amsterdam RAI as a facility and how they work with us as well. They're very amicable to new ideas and helping us develop this show. We've now become their second largest customer, and it puts us very much in high standing. We had the Mayor of Amsterdam here on Monday, and she made a statement saying how important affairs like this are to Amsterdam, because for every $1 being spent here at the show, there's probably another $5 being spent in the city. So not only does the Amsterdam RAI and the companies who are participating gain, but all the businesses, the hotels, the restaurants, the bars, everything, they have a big spike in these months. The taxi drivers, I sent a taxi last night coming back from the Innovate Awards, and the guy said, "Oh yeah, no, we all cancel our holidays for this period because we know we're going to be so busy," and that's encouraging.
That is amazing, and I would the town is great. The city of Amsterdam is doing a phenomenal job. Everybody is so kind, so welcoming. They've obviously they appreciate the fact that we're here, and I think that you couldn't have picked a better venue. So congratulations on the show. Hopefully you're going to take a vacation for a few weeks.
A couple of days off.
Yeah, at least a couple of days off. And of course we'll be back here next year, same time. This is Gary Kayye. We've been talking to Mike Blackman. Mike Blackman is the managing director at ISE, and he couldn't be. There's probably no one happier right now than you.
I've got a big smile.
Yeah. So we're going to keep shooting videos because there's still other things to see. We're halfway through day 3, but there's still a lot more products and a lot more technology out there.